The future is coming. Make it brighter with Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easy to turn your idea into a unique website. Showcase your work, blog or publish content, even sell products and services of all kind in just a few clicks. You can customize everything from look and feel to settings and products using beautiful templates created by world-class designers. And there's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE, GRACE, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Not too deep. Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Hello, Grace Helbig.
Hi, Jack Ferry.
Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep.
Thank you, and welcome to everyone else to another episode of Not Too Deep. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How's your 2018?
So 2018 is going great so far. We are recording this in the early part of the year, and yet it almost feels like summer outside.
I feel like we've had 6 months of 2018 already, and it's been 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah,
max,
I know. So we're recording this episode in January so that we can get some episodes in the can for this new quote unquote season, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
It's been so fun. We've also been kind of privileged to have just such great guests on so far.
Couldn't agree more.
Really, really fun people. And obviously this episode, Hazel Hayes is on, which
Unbelievable guest.
I enjoy her so much that and this is a long episode because I could listen to her talk about anything and everything for hours and hours and hours on end.
That's right.
So you get to enjoy an extra long episode of Not Too Deep with Hazel Hayes, and also you get to listen to me trying to calm my fangirl heart the whole time because she's just so cool and seemingly has her shit together, but also doesn't, and that's what makes her so pure and wonderful.
Yeah, and she's very honest about that. And actually, the first time I met Hazel was with you because
oh really?
The first time we went to London together was to record. That was the first time I'd ever been to London. Was to do those London episodes of Not Too Deep. And she was at the YouTube space.
Right. I vaguely remember meeting her there.
That's when I met her for the first time. And, she's part of that friend group of Brits that I like to hang out with. And so since then we became friends. And it's cool how she keeps coming into our lives in these sort of serendipitous ways, which is something we kind of talk about in the interview. But anyway, she is just a damn delight, and she has a wonderful accent, which hilariously she needs to remind herself of when she talks to Americans.
I think we recorded a little bit in the beginning where she was literally listening to Saoirse Ronan beforehand because she wanted to familiarize herself with her own Irish accent beforehand.
Yeah, she needed to remind herself what it sounds like to be
so she could be
Irish,
so she could be her pure form of herself, and it was really, really wonderful. So
fantastic.
We'll get into that in a little bit, but first, just to spread some positivity into both of our worlds and hopefully yours, it's time for We're Rooting For You.
That's right.
The segment where Jack and I highlight someone or something that we are rooting for this week.
That's right.
Would you like to go first or second, Jack?
I would love to go first.
Go for it. Tell me who you're rooting for.
Right now, I am rooting for Robin Wright.
Oh, okay.
The actress. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Robin Wright played the First Lady in House of Cards.
Okay.
And you guys have probably heard since then that because of everything that has been going on in our town, they had to remove Kevin Spacey from that show completely.
Mm-hmm.
So that show is coming back for one final season to close the story.
Okay.
And he's not going to be on the show, even though I'm not sure how they're going to handle that, having him not there at all. So she is now the only star of that show. And then when I heard that news, originally I was like, wow, that's going to be really tricky. But then I thought, if anybody can pull that off, it's Robin Wright. I've been a fan of hers since The Princess Bride, when she was, I don't know when she made that movie. She was a teenager. I mean, she's such an incredible, just tour de force, and I wanted to choose her on this episode with Hazel because there's another female tour de force.
Yeah.
And I thought, if anybody can pull this off, it's Robin Wright. And I know that there's probably a lot of pressure on her to close out this show now, and a lot of eyes are going to be on her now that Kevin Spacey is no longer on the show.
It's also going to be a huge testament to the writers. I mean,
I totally agree.
They're going to have, the writers on I am not familiar with House of Cards. I haven't watched it yet, but all I hear is how wonderful it is as a show, how the writing is so intense.
It's superb, yeah.
And so it's when you have great actors paired with great writers, I think it's, an unstoppable force. So I think that's a really cool and interesting thing to see happen is someone like her having to step up into this weird new space.
And I think, she's probably anxious about it because there's a lot of pressure on her to lead this thing into the sunset, into its finale. And like I said, I think, I couldn't think of a better leader.
Cool.
To take it. And so even though there's probably a lot of pressure on you, Ms. Robin Wright, I am rooting for you.
That's awesome. And makes me want to catch up to the scene.
Yeah, I mean you should. It's a great show. And like I said, I think I don't think we're going to be disappointed in the end.
Cool.
Yeah. Who are you rooting for, Grace?
Well, speaking of inspiring leaders, I'm rooting for Cory Booker.
Okay, yes.
Love as two New Jersey
hell yeah.
born and bred humans.
Absolutely.
I stan Cory Booker so much.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. He's the U.S. Senator from New Jersey. He is smart, funny, outspoken, just commanding, intelligent, articulate, compassionate, empathetic.
And he's really saying it like it is right now, man.
He has been so wonderfully and beautifully and elegantly outspoken in the best way possible right now.
Yes.
That I cannot fangirl enough about this human being. Also, he follows me on Twitter.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
But he also follows 92,000 other people. So
still, Jersey pride.
I'll
man.
take. He is so good. He's just a good human. You know, when you see people that are in politics that just seem to have a really wonderfully grounded sense of morality.
Yes.
That's just present in them that you don't have to dig for.
Yes.
It's just so refreshing, which is weird. It shouldn't be refreshing. That should be common. But it's so refreshing to see that he stands for what's right and speaks out against what's wrong.
And he says the things that I'm thinking.
But in a much
loud.
more intelligent and articulate and political way that I could never articulate the way that he does. He's fucking fantastic. He also knows how to use social media and he does it really well, which I think is truly important in politicians because that is the way to reach so many voices globally, not even domestically.
I agree.
And he is doing it so well. Same with like Elizabeth Warren and all those that I just am a huge fan and I'm rooting for him. And I think he has such great things, potential to do amazing things for the country, and he's really like digging in and doing it.
I agree. There's a lot of upside there. He's a young guy, he's energetic, and he's all of those things.
And he's from New Jersey, and it makes me so proud.
I agree. I completely agree.
It's like one of those things where you're like, yay, he's from New Jersey, hooray, we need someone because you and I are not waving the flag very well. And I just am just seeing someone that's so like politically powerful in all the right ways and has such great influence doing great things makes me very happy.
I completely agree. Yeah, we don't talk about politics too much on this show, and I'm so glad that you brought him up because he's definitely been an inspiration for me.
And he's been I don't talk about politics because I'm not well versed in politics. I don't know enough about it, and it's so polarizing unless you know every single thing about it to talk about. And he, in my opinion, is a politician, a senator that is really speaking to a younger generation and breaking it down in a way that makes it easy to understand.
Yes.
Doesn't make you feel like because I don't know anything about it, I shouldn't educate myself on it. He's really trying to target a younger generation and make them part of the movement that's happening, make them realize the power and influence that they have over government and the way that they can change the world that they're living in. And I'm just so elated by this human being.
Yep.
So
I couldn't agree more.
Speaking of elated,
well, hang on. Before we move on, we should say,
sorry, I'm like out of breath because I'm so excited about it.
Cory Booker.
Yeah.
We are rooting for you.
We are rooting for you. And speaking of people that make me this breathless because they elate me so much, it's time to talk to Hazel Hayes.
That's right. Let's get into it.
We'll be right back with Hazel Hayes on Not Too Deep.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good buddies over at Squarespace. Are you ready to start your new business? Make it stand out with Squarespace. With beautiful templates created by world-class designers, Squarespace makes it easy to turn your idea into a new and unique website. Showcase your work, blog or publish content or even sell products and services of all kinds in just a few clicks. And you can customize everything from look and feel to settings and products. And it's all optimized for mobile right out of the box. So use Squarespace's analytics to help you grow in real time. There's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. Though if you do have any questions, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support is there to help you. Guess what? Destiny is calling. It says you need a new website, so make it with Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE, my name, GRACE, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com. Offer code GRACE.
She's so fucking Irish.
Really believes in herself, so I was quite excited by that. I had technically gone to a Catholic primary school.
Okay, stop. I'm sorry.
No, you can do this for as long as this is your vocal warm-up.
It was more of an unusual education.
Wow.
Have you ever had someone listen to Saoirse Ronan?
No, that's a first for our show.
I've never had someone, and you, Saoirse, I've never had someone listen to her before a podcast just to make sure that your accent is correct. That's like me listening to an episode of Jersey Shore before this podcast to make sure that I'm talking correctly.
I gotta get the situation on my phone real quick.
Are we
Yeah, we're going, man.
Doing it. Hazel Hayes is here. I'm so stoked. It's unreal. You are a ray of sunshine wherever you go. I feel like, and the weirdest thing is like we've hung out very passively, at like events, but I feel like I've hung out with you for a very long time. Like I feel like we're long time friends.
Isn't that? I also feel that way. We're not. Let's just put that we are not long time friends. We barely know each other.
But every time I see you, it's as if I'm seeing a long lost friend that I haven't connected with in a while. I'm just like, how are you? I'm so happy to see you.
I swear to God, everybody I said I was going to be on the podcast, they were like, "Have you not done that yet?" Like I think in my head I just assumed you had. I'm like, no.
Well, we always run into each other. I ran into her randomly at a restaurant in New York.
This is a great story.
What? How?
So I went to go meet. I was visiting New York.
Okay.
And so I went to go meet my friend.
I've heard of her.
She's a nice lady.
I went to go meet my friend Dan to like catch up. He's like one of my old news buddies. So I go to this like. He's like, just go to this restaurant. It's pretty good. It's in the neighborhood where we work. I was like, fine. So I go.
Wait,
there.
how long ago
Penelope,
was this?
by the way, it's called Penelope.
Yeah.
They do amazing pancakes. I like it.
It's delicious. Yeah.
Wait, I've heard of that place. Yeah, it's in like the Lower East Side.
It's on Lexington.
It's like more Midtown.
Oh,
on
okay.
Lex.
Never mind.
So I go in there, and as I walk in, I'm looking for Dan, and then I spot Hazel, and she spots me, and I'm like, "What?" We're both like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I stood up
here?
and went, "What the fuck are you doing?" And like the whole restaurant just looks at me. I'm like, "Oh." That was probably too aggressive for the situation.
It's very New York.
And I was like, how are you in town? And she's like, how are you in town? And so we're both happened to be in town. We both happened to be in this restaurant.
So weird.
Of all the gin joints in all the world, Jack.
And then and then I was like, well, do you want to come to Sleep No More with me tonight? I'm going to Sleep No More. And then she came to Sleep No More with me.
Wait, you went to, because Jack has been notoriously fucking promoting Sleep No More on this podcast.
Hazel.
I've drawn a line.
Hazel didn't love it as much as I did.
I had a fun time.
But she's not going back 5 additional times.
I'm probably not going to go 5.
And you're not going to promote it every chance you get of airtime everywhere.
It was great. It was nice.
It's a cool experience, right?
I was also a little sick at the time, so I think I'd taken a lot of painkillers.
Also,
I mean, what's new?
You were also jet lagged.
I was,
to be fair.
yeah,
you had
sick
just
and jet lagged. I had literally just landed in, was getting some food and Penelope, and you were like, "Come to Sleep No More," which is maybe the weirdest thing I could have done.
That's the worst thing you could do. I can imagine. I've never done it, and I have drawn a line in the sand that I don't want to do it because
come on.
No, I mean maybe at some point in the world it'll be a different scenario, but I can imagine that if you are jet lagged and also physically sick, that would be the worst place to go.
It was intense.
Yeah. It's intense because you have to
and you're voluntarily putting yourself there. So you're like, what are my choices? Why am I doing
Just roll with it. I'm wearing a mask and I'm in this place and I'm not allowed to speak to any of these people. Okay, there's some naked folks. Sure.
Yeah. I just I'm not the weirdest one here.
I'm definitely not the weirdest.
Oh, definitely not.
Here. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
So that just keeps happening, it seems.
It does. We keep running into each other.
We do.
I ran into Brittany Snow today.
What?
Wait, and you just did a Pitch Perfect interview.
I did a Tipsy talk with her.
Yeah, which if anyone doesn't know, Hazel has this whole series called Tipsy Talk, which is 1, genius, and 2, perfect. And it's where
just like myself.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the logline for her YouTube channel. It's where she interviews people and you just get drunk and have a great conversation.
Yeah.
And so you did it with the cast of Pitch Perfect.
I did.
Recently, which I'm Anna Kendrick obsessed, and I'm too afraid to like meet her in.
She was very lovely, and I liked her a lot. And I would never want to be on her bad side.
Really?
Yeah.
She seems intense.
But in a great way. She's so fierce. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, she knows what
She's
she
got her
wants.
shit together.
She
She's-
has her shit
She's
together.
she's so tiny. I saw her in person.
tiny.
No, I've been in the
She's
same room
so
with her,
tiny.
but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't just go up and like introduce myself. But so you ran into Brittany
Yeah,
Snow.
so they were all lovely. So I was at WME, which is my agency, and I was just sat there and I looked up and it's Brittany Snow. And I'm like, do you say anything to her? Like, what do you do? But
Right.
I clocked her and she clocked me, and we kind of went, oh, and we did the thing where you just pointed at each other. And she went, you changed your hair. And I was like, oh my God, you remember that? That's insane. So she came over, we were chatting, and I was like, thank you so much for that day. The interview was like, to be honest, the whole setup was kind of a shit show, but they made it amazing. Just the
Yeah.
behind the scenes had been a mess, and they were great. And yeah, and she was like, Anna just would not shut up about your body. And I was like, no, she did mention
What?
that a few times.
I saw that. Yeah,
It
she was
was
like, you have an
insane.
incredible body
Like
or
a
something.
banging butt. And I was like, I'm like, I can die happy now. Anna Kendrick has said some nice
You're
things
like,
about my figure.
I got my reference letter from Anna
Yeah.
Kendrick, so I'm
put it on my
all
CV.
good.
Yeah, she was good. They were so lovely. It's so nice to meet people like that where you're like, oh, you're just a lovely, genuine human being.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
the hope. It's that weird phrase, "Don't meet your heroes," where you're like,
Do meet your heroes. They're generally
when they're
fine.
great. But here's my question for you, because Tipsy Talk is, in my opinion, a really great concept, but I can imagine that it can go wrong, or that things could go awry in
Yeah.
a lot of situations. Have you ever had a Tipsy Talk, or what was your weirdest or most awkward Tipsy Talk? Or has there been one that has never made it to air? Because there's definitely been a My Drunk Kitchen that Hannah, Mamrie, and I shot that has never made it to air because it got bad.
Really? You're just too drunk?
Oh.
It was too drunk and it was bad. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a slop fest. Yeah.
Slop fest.
Yeah.
I love that. Have I had bad? Well, to be honest, the Pitch Perfect one was probably the worst in terms of coordination. I turned up and the cast who were there weren't the cast I was expecting. And the
so all
timing
your
of it had
prep was
changed. And
like,
everything changed.
Oh, man.
And yeah, so that was a really difficult one. I feel like there's some people I just connect with less. Like either you get on board with my energy or you don't. And I try and accommodate it to people. Like Guillermo del Toro was like so serene and calm and spoke really slowly. And it was
Right.
so interesting. And so I kind of try to adjust to that. Daisy Ridley, I felt like was such an interesting, lovely, friendly woman. And yet her posture was there was something a little cold about it, where I think
like
when
closed off. Or
yeah,
something.
a little closed off, that when you watch it back, it feels like Hazel's going all out, being kind of shouting at her. And Daisy's
But you're really just trying to like connect with her.
yeah, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
And I think so those ones kind of sometimes I just have to really adjust myself for people. But for the most part, like, yeah, like I think the thing that I've noticed most is that people are just people and everybody poops, as I say.
Right.
Which is the thing I say to calm myself down when I'm about to meet someone amazing.
I say everyone die. We're all gonna die someday.
We are all going to
Yeah.
die someday, and we all poop. It's like
Yeah.
death and taxes. Death and poop. That's your new line of merch.
There you go.
No, it's not. It's mine. You don't need the money. But yeah, no, generally people are just lovely and friendly. And like Amy Adams, Margot Robbie, Amy Schumer, like
Yeah,
Wait,
Taika
wait.
Waititi has been insane.
You've had all
you,
these insane
you shot with
names.
Margot Robbie.
I shot with Margot Robbie. And
Oh
she
my
was
God.
a beautiful, lovely woman, very friendly.
Have
Go
you seen
on.
I, Tanya?
Have I seen I, Tanya?
I'm
Yes, I
looking
have
at it
seen
right
I,
down
Tanya.
there. I was gonna be
Oh
like,
my
have you seen?
God.
It's so
Mel hasn't
good.
watched it yet.
It's incredible.
It's
Her
so-
performance is stunning.
It's so good.
And Alison Janney in it as well. Oh, the whole cast are incredible.
Yeah,
it's
Allison
so
Janney's
good.
been amazing.
She's
for as
amazing
long
in
as
everything.
She's been
Yeah.
Allison Janney.
But we
also-
shouldn't stop saying how amazing she is. Because of it.
Exactly. But also
Yeah.
the weirdest thing for Tanya Harding to be like, oh, the woman that portrayed my mother is winning awards. This is so bizarre. The
That
woman,
must be
Yeah,
so
that's-
bizarre.
that's
there's
difficult.
layers of weirdness to the whole thing,
So
but it's
many
a great
layers.
movie.
But it's
regardless.
become this like the montage sequence where she's running around just like it's like the Rocky montage
Yeah.
sequence chasing chickens, but she's carrying bags.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
That's been my inspiration for the past like month or two. I've just been
That's
like,
your
well,
vision board?
if Tanya could do it, I can do it. And all I'm doing is like bending in yoga, but I'm like, I'm going to be a badass woman like her.
That's so funny that Tanya Harding is now like your inspiration.
That particular montage was very inspirational, Jack.
yeah,
I'm not
just
going to lie.
carrying all those logs
Ooh,
and like, all of it.
good for her.
She's really getting it. But yeah, you've had insane names that you've you've like sat down and talked to.
And they've all been really refreshingly little. Like, I wish I had these hilarious stories of like, this person was awful. They weren't. Everybody's been
They're pros.
interesting in their own way. And like Taika Waititi got smashed. And like
That's
by the end of it,
cool.
the two of us were like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Like we hadn't got a clue what we were doing. But he was lovely. And
is there someone on your bucket list that you haven't interviewed yet that you're like, if the world was my oyster and I could choose whoever I wanted to have on my show without like any publicists or anything like that, there were like
with
loopholes.
no boundaries.
so many names come to mind, actually.
Like who's like the
okay, Ryan Gosling obviously pops in first.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, you know.
I'm sorry. No, what are the reasons?
He's a scholar. He's an
Is
intellect.
he?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
To be
this.
honest, I think he would be fun to talk to.
Oh, I think so
I think
too.
he'd be so smart.
Yeah, interesting. Like, I think it would be an interesting conversation.
Yes.
And all the roles that he's played, like, he's chosen some really diverse roles. And I think that that's really, for someone so good looking,
Right.
to try and
like
veer
Lars in the
out of
Regal
that.
and-
Yeah. To
he's-
try and do something a bit different. I think that's really interesting. So I think he'd be a great guest.
Also, he has navigated this weird entertainment industry for so long
True.
that he must have such insider knowledge or just some like grounded sense of like rationale that would be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
you're
it's
right.
interesting. Both him and Emma Stone stay so grounded. I'd love to interview her as well. She's a bit of an icon as well.
Yeah, she's
she
amazing.
would be
And
amazing.
for the same reasons, I think, you know, she takes these really interesting roles. She's a wonderful actress. And also in every interview, she just seems like your best friend. Like she seems
like
so
a real
normal.
human.
Yeah. She seems lovely. So yeah, them, Meryl Streep, I would love to interview.
yeah.
That's like,
Oh
I mean,
my
Incredible.
God.
I would have, Carrie Fisher would have been my top of my list.
Yeah.
That would have been the
Yeah.
number one. But there's so many amazing people. I did get to speak to Steven Spielberg, but it wasn't like a one-on-one interview.
Oh, really?
So one day that would be amazing.
I heard he's
to
very
do
nice
that.
as well.
Very lovely. Him and Tom Hanks came to speak to like a group of us.
Tom Hanks,
after
I've
Bridge
heard,
of Spies.
is the greatest human
He's
that
so
exists
lovely.
in the universe known to date.
They were both really great. We all just sat around on sofas and chatted about movies. And I asked Steven Spielberg, was he ever happy with like something he'd made? And he said no. Like, and as soon as you are, you stop. So
Wow.
the key is to never be fully satisfied.
Oh, good. So I'm doing
Otherwise-
great.
Yeah, we're all doing a really good job. I made me feel really good about your life.
Wow,
I'm
what a
right where I
great
need
question.
to
It
be.
was, thank you. It was good advice. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It was really good advice. He was just like, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm proud of the stuff that I make, but once you make it, you put it out there, you maybe watch it back once or twice, but then you move on and
Yeah.
you
Sure.
aspire to do better. And as soon as I think I've told the perfect story, I'll stop telling stories. So I don't ever want to do
as
that.
soon as I'm satisfied, I'm
Oh, wow.
retired.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's an amazing director, and that's what you've moved into now because you've done a
Yeah,
lot of content
kinda.
creation, but now you've been directing a lot more. And last time I talked to you, I think you were talking more about like, I want to direct
Mm-hmm.
more. How has that been for you? Because you directed Rest in Peace, Full Screen Platform, SVOD, all of that.
I've just done a sign of the cross for
yeah.
anyone.
Yes, so do you know what's the?
And you directed a
don't.
film that was
Yeah, neither do
prank me.
Prank me. Yeah.
And
You
was
got
that
there.
your first like full like long narrative
Yeah,
directing?
that was the biggest thing I've done.
Mhm.
Definitely, I've been writing and directing and even producing and editing everything, kind of, because you have to. You know, when you
Right.
do YouTube, you kind of have to do all the jobs, and then as you are able to bring on more crew, you do that. But I've been doing like short films and comedy sketches and little series and stuff like that for a couple of years now on YouTube. But that was the first biggie. That was like,
Right.
it was basically as long as a feature film. It was like an 8-episode series.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was called Prank Me. I'm talking about it in the past tense like it's dead.
Like
I know,
This
it's
is our
sad,
in memoriam
right?
well,
section.
the reason I'm saying that is because full screen is no more. So Prank
Well,
Me is no more.
The platform is
The
no more.
platform, yeah. But I think that hopefully it will find a home somewhere else. We're
Yeah,
not sure
'cause
exactly what's going to happen to
I've
it
been
yet.
told they're trying to sell the project so they can at least be seen again because it really stinks.
It's sad that I tell people about it and I'm like, I don't know where you can watch that. Like I can't
Yeah.
see my own show. It's a really strange feeling. But
how was the process of directing that? Like such a bigger project than what you've been doing.
it was so like it was such good experience. It was
Yeah.
so eye-opening, I think, to the entire thing. I haven't been sure what I wanted for a very long time.
Mhm.
I think for a long time I thought I wanted to be an actress.
Right.
And I do enjoy acting, but the more and more I've done this, the more I've realized, oh shit, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
And like my friends joke about it now to the point that it's like
You're like,
Jack
"Oh,
is like
no."
that moment when you were like, I think I'm a writer. And I was like, yeah, no, I know. We
Yeah.
all know, Hazel.
Oh,
Why did it take you
no.
so
That's
long?
funny.
And directing as well. I love it. I got the bug, I think, on Prank Me. It really gave me the bug for being on set and leading the team. And having a vision for something and then seeing it through. Well, it was Paul Nefsey wrote the script, and then I kind of came in and worked on it with him and then directed. But he trusted me so wholeheartedly to just hand that over to me, and it was, and with Full Screen as well, and the production company Wildseed, they just kind of let me do this massive thing. So it was terrifying. It was so scary.
It's that fake it till you make it mentality of like,
Completely.
I'm going to pretend that I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking on this thing that it's like so much bigger than I know. Yeah.
The night before, this is a name drop, and I'm going to sound like an asshole.
I'm ready to pick it up.
You got it. You got this. Hands out. So sometimes randomly, and I don't know why, I talk to Edgar Wright on DM. Look, we don't know why this happens, okay?
What?
We got talking one time, and now randomly we DM sometimes, okay? Grace wasn't ready. Okay,
What?
okay. Grace wasn't ready.
I'm so jealous. I'm
no,
obsessed
it's not
with
a big.
him.
It's not. It's
Casual
just
sentence.
sometimes
All
we
right.
DM.
Go on.
Okay,
So
so
the
you're,
night before,
you're DMing with Edgar Wright.
The night before
as
I
we
was
do.
about to direct Prank Me, I was having a full-blown panic attack. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't be on set. I can't do this. Oh my God, everyone's looking
Sure.
to look at me and they're going to want answers and I don't know. So I messaged him and I was like, do you always feel this way before you go on set? And he was like, yes, obviously, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Of course you will.
Wow.
And he was like, but you get on set and you'll be fine and you will just do the job because you have to. And I was like, okay, yeah,
you
great.
figure it out.
It was amazing. It was such good advice. I was like, I'll just panic now and then tomorrow I'll get on set and I will just have to do the job.
And he was right.
He was totally right. And I imagine no matter what you're doing, from whether it's an online platform series or it's a big budget film or whatever you're doing, you're always going to be afraid that first day.
Yeah, I always think, and I think about fear a lot as a feeling that's like
Do
super
you?
important.
There's
yeah,
a sentence.
because
Yeah.
I am afraid constantly in my life,
Yeah.
every day, all day, about this, that, or the other. And I feel like there's a different narrative about fear that can run in your brain. That's like fear is important and good because it means you care about something enough to be afraid of making it bad.
Yeah.
And so that feeling, if you walked into a project that you're like not scared of, then there's something to that's a little off, right? That you
Yeah,
don't
if you
care
don't
about
care
enough.
enough to be scared.
But so like fear is like a great supposed to be there feeling.
Yeah,
for
I think
something.
so. And that's something I've really had to come to terms with like, not to totally lower the tone, but like having an anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
To learn the difference between healthy fear and not healthy fear
Yeah, and that's
is really big.
someone, and I said this on the podcast before, and this like changed my brain. I think it was ASAP Science that said this, that there's a different way in your brain to think about fear and anxiety, that anxiety can be excitement. If you think about anxiety,
It's
is
like the positive
excitement.
end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that it's not necessarily fear or dread,
But you're physiologically, it's identical, is what they said.
my body is firing on all cylinders because
Yes.
I'm excited about this thing that I'm doing. And once you like reframe that in your brain, then it diffuses a lot of the unnecessary like
The negative.
yeah, around it, which is, to me, I was like, that's such a simple concept.
That
and
blew my
seems like,
mind when they told us that.
yeah, I was like, this is so simple, but
Yeah.
this is so also you just
so
forget it.
Important.
Yeah.
You just don't. I had a therapist say that to me years ago, and it really stuck. That she was just like, yeah, I mean, sometimes the things you're most afraid of are the most important things to you, and you have to learn whether that fear is. Whether it's a genuine, I am being faced with a tiger fear.
Right.
Or whether it's
I'm facing my
If
own
so,
death,
run.
or
yeah, maybe run. Or whether it's a pre-stage jitters kind of fear where
Right.
it's like a healthy, normal level of butterflies and excitement and apprehension, but ultimately it's about a good thing that you just don't want to fuck up.
Right.
That's a different kind of thing. And so, yeah, you have to kind of reframe your brain around that, which is difficult to do.
easier said than done.
So much easier
Yeah.
than done. And when you're
Yeah.
in that place, when you're really anxious about something, and I've literally had this the past few days, my anxiety's been worse than ever. And I'm like, when you're in that state of being really low and really afraid, your brain tells you you're always going to feel this way.
Oh yeah, this is your common response
This is
to
it now.
everything.
This is your life
This is
now.
who we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going to live in fear. You have no future. Everything is terrifying.
Right.
You're never going to come out of this.
and we'll eventually die, and it's
Yeah.
all gonna be fine. I
Yeah.
guess it's all gonna wash out at the end. Yeah.
And then you come and then, 2 hours later, you're sat watching TV and you're like, oh, I'm okay.
hindsight's 2020.
It's
When you look
insane.
back
Yeah.
on how insane you've ever felt, like I moved out of New York, and I've told Jack this before, that like when I lived there for 5 years, and towards the end of it, I couldn't ride the subway anymore because I was getting panic attacks like crazy.
I was getting panic attacks in the subway too.
Yeah, that it was so bizarre because like for 4.5 years,
Yep.
that's totally fine riding the subway, and then your brain does this thing where
Just
it's like,
switches.
What? Why can't you connect to what we were doing before? And then you just overanalyze and overanalyze and overanalyze.
Yeah,
and
the
get
more you
outside of-
try to fight it, the worse it gets.
Don't ever fight it.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to sit with it and be like, this is what I'm feeling right now. I'm not going to die, and I will eventually. Something will change.
It's you. Like the thing that you have to learn, like, is it's the equivalent of like which Superman movie was it where there's an evil Superman? Is it 3? It was a shit one. Either way, it was the one with Chris Reeves. But
Mel's saying it was 3.
Was it 3? Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's this one who's at equal strength, equal intelligence, everything is the exact same, and that's your anxiety. Like if you try and fight it, it's as intelligent as you because it's you.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no point trying to employ tactics. It will just get around you.
Yeah.
You have to just accept
that movie
it.
was so much more educational than we all
You
know.
didn't know. You didn't know at the
rewatch
time.
it.
but
That was teaching a lesson on self-help. That whole movie.
It's a metaphor, guys. It's a metaphor.
We didn't
it's all about
know.
panic attacks.
It's all about that. Sorry, I just totally brought around to mental health for a while there.
No,
and we're not
it's
supposed
great.
to get too deep.
No, but speaking of like mental health, let's talk about drinking. What? Because Tipsy Talk is like built into your brand, and you're Irish, and all of these wonderful things. What was the first drink that you ever got drunk off of?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I went to my
Are you going to be a
sister-in-law's-
stereotype right now?
No,
Okay.
it's awful. It's shit. It's
Yes,
so bad. I went to
tell
my
us.
sister-in-law's hen do. And it was
Wait,
that kind of
hen do?
A hen do
Oh,
is
sorry,
like
a bachelorette party. I'm so sorry.
and bachelor parties are called a stag do, yeah?
Yes, that good.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you guys make everything cuter and we make it so dirty and
You make it
trashy?
so filthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I was so much younger. I was the youngest kid, and so I was younger than everyone, but like my sisters and my sister-in-law, my mother, everyone, they all went to town, and I went out with them, and we did shots of tequila. And I was 14 and I vomited a lot.
But you were
you
in
did.
good
I
company.
I was in great company. My mother took care of me. It was a great night, but I have not had tequila since.
Really?
No, I can't. I cannot do it. It's like I'm back in Nam again, you know? It's like
Yeah.
I can't fucking
So you
do
can't
it,
even have
Jack.
like a margarita?
I hate margarita. I actually hate most alcohol. The only way I can drink alcohol is if there's a lot of sugar in it. I don't think I am Irish through and through, but this is the only
Wow.
problem.
But
Sometimes
you're a
they're like,
wine
"Why
girl, right?
I am a wine girl.
Yeah. What's
I
your
do like wine.
favorite? What's your go-to? Is it box?
Moscato.
Oh,
It's just sugar.
You like that
Whoa.
Nicki Minaj wine? You like that Moscato
I
wine?
guess
You mix it with some Coca-Cola?
You like that
I'm
sugar
such a teenager. Like I can't, unless it's sugar, I can't
Wow.
drink it.
Oh, we
It's
should have got
so
you a
sad.
box of Arbor Mist.
No, don't
It would've
do
been
that.
I mean,
perfect.
she is drinking a Capri Sun right
I
now.
am drinking
so.
a Capri Sun. I am a child. I just want to drink alcohol, and so you have to feed it to me intravenously through sugar.
Right.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I don't hate on that at all whatsoever. I mean, Jack, what's your go-to is like whiskey or scotch,
Yeah, I
right?
generally drink bourbon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bourbon. I
I
just
wish I drank adult drinks. You know,
See, I'm a vodka soda girl because I try to get
Nice.
away from sugar because it gives me too much of a hangover the next day.
I think that's probably why I have such bad hangovers.
Yeah.
Now that I think, now that you say that,
I don't know, man. I got
I've
some
just had a
pretty bad
revelation.
hangovers on just straight bourbon. So,
Really?
well, this month I'm not drinking at all. I'm doing dry January. So I feel so fucking clear-headed right now, and I'm doing that new show. So I'm like, maybe I'll
Right.
just stick
That sounds
with
awful.
it. Like what Mel did last year. She was like, didn't drink for like 6 months. So maybe I'll just do
bless.
that.
It's momentum. As soon as you get the
Wow.
momentum going, then it's
Yeah.
easy to go.
Yeah,
and
if
you're like, why would
if I decide to really commit myself to something, I can. I just don't see the. To be honest, the really funny thing is, I have this brand of being this like wine aunt of YouTube,
Right.
Which is fine. And every single photo I have, there's just a wine glass in my hand, just cash. And even like I went through. Oh my god, do you remember the bonkers?
We were talking
Talk
about
about the
this last
bonkers real
night.
quick.
Mamrie and I were.
I don't know what the bunkers
Okay, so
are.
the Bonkers were this
Yeah.
award show
Join the
in,
world, Jack.
Okay.
in London. It was hosted by the brothers that sing Maynard.
Yeah,
Were the
Connor.
yeah
Connor Maynard. Is that
yeah
him?
and his brother.
Yeah.
It was hosted by them.
Uh-huh.
Mamrie and I went to them. This was Mamrie and I single, ready to mingle phase.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, we are doing all of it. And so we went to the Bonkers, but we also did a show in London when we were there.
Uh-huh.
And we were just reminiscing about this last night, literally. Hazel won an award. She walks out holding her wine glass like fucking Rihanna on stage. And Mamrie just goes, and I've never seen Mamrie like clutch her pearls figuratively ever about a person. And she just goes, She's perfect.
As she was going to accept her award, because
Amazing.
Hazel just strolled up like she fucking knew this was gonna happen and was totally casual, put her wine glass on the podium and started her
Amazing.
speech. And I was reacting to Mame reacting to you so much. It was so perfect. But that to me is like the quintessential brand of who you are. That's like,
Yeah.
when I think about Hazel, I'm like, this moment of her on stage just walking up looking fucking gorgeous in a like evening gown, holding a glass of wine and going, thank you so much for this award.
I don't mean a word of this.
Yeah.
You've named your awards the Bunkas, and for that reason, no one gives a
Which
shit.
sounds like bonkers.
This is a piece
Yeah.
of polystyrene that you've spray painted and put a sticker on.
It was, but also it was an award show. It was so unclear.
It was
And then
weird.
they get you in there, and the entire theater, they had sold tickets for fans to be in the theater. So the whole theater,
I see.
the theater's not very big, so it's like
It was weird.
100 of us like sitting front and center up front, and it's very obvious who's gonna win things. Mamie and I were there presenting because we happened to be in town.
Sure.
And then the rest of the theater is just nutso like Alfie Zoella fan crazy fandom that are
Sure.
screaming as you're getting sat in your seats trying to take photos. It was the weirdest
It was
scenario.
a very bizarre experience. Yeah, it was. Just for the record, I wasn't expecting to win. And I didn't
No, I
give
know.
a shit.
We knew
It's
that.
because you were a little
And
bit wine
that is the
tipsy.
brand. Like that,
Yeah.
I knew what
It
I
was
was doing because that's
perfect.
how people see me. But I don't drink that much. That's the funny thing. Is like everyone sees me as this.
That's what Hannah
particular
does
thing.
too.
Yeah, dirty
Yeah,
little
I
secret.
really-
Hannah doesn't drink that much either.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so funny. Like it's
it's
kind
more,
of become
it's
my
more
thing.
my buzzed kitchen
Like
now.
once in a while, I was sat yesterday on my sofa with a wine glass in hand in my particular pose that I do,
Yeah.
banging on about how much I hate Disneyland. And Dodie just like surreptitiously starts filming me and posting on that. She's like, I'm sorry, it's just in that moment you were quintessential Hazel. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. Sometimes I slip into it, but like for
You're
the
so
most
on
part.
brand.
Yeah. Like when we began this podcast and you were like, Hazel's a ray of sunshine. I was like, what? No one has ever fucking described me as a
You
ray
are.
of
In
sunshine.
my mind, I'm like,
You are a darling angel from
well,
heaven.
you do a
Grace,
great job
but-
of hiding all your demons. So congrats.
Wow, thanks. Because I think they're up here with me in the driver's seat all the time.
That's what makes you so pure. And I'm like, she's exactly who she is. But that was like such a quintessential moment that it's so funny that we were just
Thank you. I
literally
didn't
talking
know
about
I had such an impact on you and Mamrie in that moment. Thank you.
No, Mamrie was like, she's a
that video
badass bitch.
exists somewhere. There's a video on YouTube of Hazel accepting a Bongo Award. I don't know where it is, but it's there somewhere.
It's the
It was
weirdest
just
award
such a
show of all
mess.
time,
It
and I'm
was
glad
so
that we're reminiscing
bizarre.
so that we can admit that it existed. Because for a while we're like, did that happen? What
Sounds
just happened?
fun.
Was it a
I'm
fever
sad
dream?
I
I don't
missed
know.
it.
No,
Yeah.
don't be. It was the one and only one. They're not doing it again, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't. Who knows? I thought Bufferfest was a one and done, and that's.
I love Buffer.
Oh, you
Buffer's
do?
my most favorite thing. It's so great.
That's
and
great.
And I won an award last year that meant something to me at that because I was like,
That's
this is for
great.
the series that
As
I
a
made that I
filmmaking
really
award,
as
yeah,
a filmmaking
sure.
award.
Yeah.
It's like for directing. I was like, well, this means a lot
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bunkers were lols.
Where that's the best way to wrap
Yeah.
that up. But where are you focusing your attention now creatively? Are you trying to do stuff on your YouTube channel is kind of like here and there whenever you want to, but now you're focusing on like bigger projects, more like traditional directing?
Yeah, it's a bit of everything. I think I really have fallen into writing in the past year or so.
That's great.
It's weird because I like
God bless.
thank you. I always wrote. I was that kid in school who like enjoyed writing my English essays.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I
What's
know
that like?
it was nice because I hated everything else and I can't add numbers. I would have been an astronaut except I'm really lazy and I can't do maths, which I think are the only two things you need. I just wanted to go to space. I
That's
fair. Multiply. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so forget it. You're
Yeah.
out.
I just want zero gravity.
But my thighs are quite large. So yeah, so I did that. I did a degree in journalism. I did like 2 years at the Irish Writers Centre learning like doing short stories and personal essays. I always loved it. And for some stupid reason in my head, I never equated that to like, well, maybe you should write movies or write things.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of kept doing it as a hobby and then fell into YouTube, made videos, blah, 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 thought I wanted to do acting. And so what I was doing was
writing roles for myself because there's no roles. There's no interesting female roles.
Right. There's nothing that's complex and normal to what your experience
to
in the
what I
world
want,
is.
to what my experiences were, to what I wanted to play. And so I was just making stuff as a platform, as a vehicle for me to be able to act. And then in the process was like, oh shit, I quite like writing and directing this stuff actually.
Yeah.
And then in the past sort of year or two, it's segued off of YouTube, and I got myself an agent, and he's wonderful, and working with the community in the UK are all so amazing. Just being surrounded by people who love film so much and are so passionate.
That's awesome.
I've just started writing a whole bunch, and I've written so much. I'm working on I'm doing a comedy series that's been optioned. It's a sitcom, which is it's called Hot Mess, which I did a proof of concept for on my channel a long time ago. So that's kind of still in the works, still redrafting the pilot and hoping to get that picked up. I'm working on a sci-fi series with my co-writer, Paul Neefsey. We're also working on a couple of features, all kind of sci-fi horror. I'm talking to different companies.
Something that you're really into?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. From
Have you watched the first episode of Black Mirror, season 4?
USS Callister, yes, I have. Grace, do you want to do a whole podcast on USS Callister? Because I can do that.
I'm gonna have to step out.
So good.
I'm gonna have to step out.
I loved
haven't seen it yet.
No spoilers, but it's really great.
Well, I mean, I'm a Trekkie. I grew up on Star Trek.
Oh,
oh God, watching that was just a slice of
just
home.
fed your soul.
It's just good sci-fi, but also based on something that I've always loved, and they did it so well, and they used the tropes
also
in such an intelligent
commentary
way.
on digital world.
Yes,
So many layers.
So many layers.
Yeah.
For me, that was the perfect pilot for a series. I would watch that series. I would watch the hell out of it.
So with you.
Yeah, so I love Black Mirror. I love sci-fi. That's my bread and butter. Less so horror, and yet there's just this kind of dark side of me that I have these horrible nightmares and stuff, and I just channel them into scripts. It's
Wow.
great.
I mean, that's probably
Good for
the best
you.
Yeah,
thing.
my brain is just a horror making machine. I don't really watch a lot of horror, but
that's probably
Because you're watching them at
I'm
night.
watching them behind my
I watch
eyes.
them in my brain. And that's probably the best and healthiest way to recycle horror nightmares.
I guess, yeah.
Than to just live with them silently by yourself.
I've just imagined that alternate reality where I do that. That's horrible.
Where I just keep it to myself rather than maybe I should make this into art and get it out of my brain.
It is. It's quite cathartic. I did a short film called Dementia a few years ago, which was in conjunction with Legendary and YouTube. And I got to talk to Guillermo del Toro after that, actually, which was fucking insane. But yeah, there's a few scenes in that are straight out of nightmares that I've had.
Wow.
And my best friend Dan has not seen it. He's too afraid.
He's this is going to be too close to home.
I can't do it.
Yeah, too
so
real.
there's a lot of my friends haven't seen some of my stuff because they don't want
Too
it.
scary.
It's too scary for them. But yeah, I think, sci-fi and horror are kind of there in my veins, but also comedy, and also weirdly, it's either that or it's very grounded real life stuff about love and heartbreak and loss and grief and friendship, and those things kind of come quite naturally too. So I keep announcing this, but I haven't fully announced it.
You're writing a book.
I'm writing a book.
Yeah, I was going to ask
but
you
no
about
one
this.
wants the book yet. I'm just writing a book for me.
It should be for you at the end of the day, regardless of whether anyone buys it, reads it, anything.
Well, this is it. I just started writing. I had a story to tell, and I just started writing. And the next thing I had a first chapter, and then I did a second one, and now I've gone to my literary agent, and they've been like, okay, we're going to go out and pitch this and see if it can get commissioned. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just I'm happy that this is where it's at for me now, even if it doesn't get picked up right now. I'm just going to keep writing it.
What's the genre concept? It's love, heartbreak.
Working title is Out of Love.
Okay.
It's a relationship in reverse.
Okay.
So it's sort of slightly 500 Days, Eternal Sunshine kind of vibe.
Nonfiction?
It's fiction.
It's fiction. Okay. Got it. Mm-hmm.
I just winked.
Yeah. No, I got it.
No, it is fiction.
No, the
It is
microphone
fiction.
picked up the wink. We
It's
got
quite. It's quite.
We have a-
It's based on my life experiences, but very heavily fictionalized.
Got it.
And it begins with a breakup and then works backwards through a relationship through kind of vignettes of their life together
Cool.
back to when they met, and they seemed so perfect for
Right,
each
right,
other.
right.
So it's quite
That's cool.
bittersweet.
Very
and
cool.
I
Yeah.
literally just got chills
Oh,
listening
no
to
way.
you. Listening
Good.
to you talk about it. That's because I just rewatched Eternal Sunshine a few months
that
ago for the first time.
movie.
So amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
So amazing.
It's
One of
so
the
good. I
greatest
keep
movies
coming
ever
back
made.
to it. I just keep coming back to it.
It's
It's
really
stunning.
And I listened to a podcast that Mark Ruffalo was on, and they asked him what are your 5 top movies of all time?
Yeah.
And even though he's like, I know this is weird, but Eternal Sunshine, even though I'm in it, is one of the
That's
best movies
fair.
ever.
Yeah.
It would be in my list too.
It's
I mean,
so
Michelle
good.
Gondry just directed the hell out of it. It's so, and I think that's what I mean when I say like I love sci-fi and I love horror, but also grounded stories based on love and friendship. I think you can merge those,
Yeah.
and that's the perfect example of like taking two genres. Oh my god, The Shape of Water does that so.
I haven't seen it yet.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either.
I won't
It's
no
on my
spoilers,
list.
but it's like this beautiful blend of nostalgic kind of 70s B movie with
Yeah.
musical and romance.
Ooh, I
And
have to
yeah,
see
it's
it.
so great. So that's kind of what I want to lean into, is just picking all sorts of different genres and stuff that speaks to you, and
Yeah.
stuff that I guess a human being will sit and watch and feel
Yeah.
something
And
about.
feel
whether,
connected
yeah,
to.
Yeah.
And be surprised by the connectivity that they have
Yeah,
to it.
I think I want them to kind of come away, and that's what I hope with all my work, is that people go into it and then come out going, huh, like that's not
Yeah.
fully what I expected, but I really connected with it, or it made me feel something. That's all I want to do, is tell stories that make people feel something.
That's awesome.
Can't argue with that.
Right? And speaking of feeling things, we are
I love your segues, by
Yeah.
the way. Can I just say?
We're going to take a quick break, and hopefully you feel the passion in this ad break that we're about to take. I really be influenced by the passion behind this next ad break, and then we'll be back with questions from you guys for Hazel Hayes on more of Not Too Deep coming up in just a second after this amazing commercial block.
Not too deep.
Hi friends, Grace Helbig here from the podcast that you're listening to, Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig. I got a quick favor that I would love for you to participate in, but you have free will, so you can do whatever you want. It would be so wonderful for you beautiful listeners to rate and review us on the Apple Podcast app. It really helps new audiences see what kind of dumb, fun stuff we're doing over here and check it out for the first time. Also, please make sure that you go to nottoodeep.com. We have a website. If you didn't know, now you know. Your life is different now in some regards. And on the website, it has the links to everywhere that you can listen, SoundCloud, iTunes, and guess what? A brand new YouTube channel. That's right, on the website, Not Too Deep, it'll link you to our brand new YouTube channel. So if it's easier for you to listen over there, we've got episodes uploaded weekly there. Make sure that you can subscribe to the podcast there too. It's really, you have no excuse not to listen, other than you just not enjoying it on any sort of like entertainment level. That's fine. We'll talk offline about that. In the meantime, make sure you go rate and review us on the Apple Podcast app. Check out nottoodeep.com and subscribe to our new YouTube channel. Back to the podcast. Take it away, Grace Helbig and Jack Ferry.
I like hearing my voice in this. I want this to be
Yeah.
how I hear my voice.
That's what I say
forever.
all the time, that it's wonderful to wear the headphones because you have
Yeah.
never sounded more important or in your life, or that every story you tell is very like it's just grounded.
Meaningful.
Exactly.
I feel
These
very
are-
meaningful.
These are very expensive microphones, but we realized very early on they were very worth the investment
You've
because
mentioned.
they make you sound so good.
Are these expensive? You haven't. They're expensive. The mics.
Yeah.
they?
Are you making a joke?
Yeah,
You've
'cause
said
Jack,
several times.
Have
you,
I?
you
Yeah.
don't say microphone without expensive before it
Oh,
when you
really?
describe these.
Attached to it now. Do I
Oh,
sound
my.
Irish enough is the question.
you need
Yes.
to
Do you need to listen to
Cersei, how do I say her name?
Saoirse.
Saoirse. Yeah.
Cersei? Cersei Lannister?
Cersei.
You need to listen to Cersei Lannister?
Wait, who announced her at the Golden Globes and said her name like entirely wrong?
I didn't know about that.
There was
Did they call her Idina Menzel?
basically it was the red-headed girl, Jessica Chastain.
Oh, wow.
And she
What? Really? I missed that.
Yeah, there was
Me
there's a
Did she call
lot
her
of other things.
Soares? What did she call her?
Something, but there's a lot of other
It
dialogue
is a
about
difficult name. It's not spelled the way that it's pronounced,
Right.
as is the case with all
It
Irish
was the
names,
Golden
which is the
Globes
most
that
fun.
taught me how to say her name because I had no
It's
idea
really not
how to
difficult.
say it.
Saoirse.
Saoirse.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but it's not spelled that way, so I wouldn't have known. Saoirse. It wasn't until people said
No,
it
but yeah,
that
no,
now I know. Yeah.
Phonetically, if they could spell her name that. Okay, speaking of like spelling things correctly, let's talk
God.
about spaghetti.
We're doing a spelling bee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
And
We
then we're
don't
gonna
have
have you do
spelling bees,
multiplication
by the way. Spelling
tables.
bees are the most adorable thing in the whole world, and we do not have them where I'm from. And
Really?
I like them. I
The-
just wanted to say that. I just
Well,
wanted to say it here first.
They're adorable until they get not adorable, because I feel like we've turned what is a
Oh.
pure competition into something that has become like national scale of kids
Yeah, I
like
know.
competing on such a like sincere level.
yeah.
That's like
we just cannot be fucking chill.
Early
it's just
days
impossible
anxiety.
for
That's
us
what
to
that
be
is.
chill.
Yeah, let's make it a competition.
Yeah,
But there's
Let's make
exactly.
it fight to the death.
yeah, I know. Let's take children that have high anxiety and put them in like a higher anxiety platform for a competition that doesn't really matter
Yeah,
in
and
the grand
televise
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and just
Good.
make them like fight or flight. Deal with it. Okay, here are the 2 questions before we get into Twitter questions that I ask every single guest in the podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at? I feel like you have an answer in your brain, but you're going to give me a very politically correct answer. I feel like you have a very specific answer on
Oh,
a
boy.
personal level in your head that I watched float through your eyeballs. And now
That was
you
magical.
are reconsidering who is the public answer that you want to give to
Oh
this
my! I love that all of that existed on my face and that you saw.
Yeah, I watched a full movie
I have
happen
a
in your
fucking
eyes.
problem, guys. I get this a lot. I cannot keep my thoughts off of my face, and everyone sees everything.
No, it was so subtle, but I felt like
God.
I was watching a computer screen that was buffering for a second, and it just froze, and you were like, "What?"
Wow. Is everyone just saying Trump? That was the problem.
A lot of people
Yeah,
say
we get that a lot.
Trump, which
That
is like
Betty DeVos lady. Is that
Oh.
her name?
Betsy.
Betsy
yeah,
DeVos.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can
She's-
piss off.
she's the worst,
Betsy.
too.
Betsy. That's even worse than Betty.
Yeah.
Horrible
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
She can just, yeah.
Get some
There
cold
you go.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
There
you
you
don't
go.
care about children's education at all,
Uh,
Betsy.
she does. Who knows what she actually cares about?
Money.
I think. Yeah. No. There you go. There you
Well,
go.
there we have it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
I got really angry about her just
Yeah.
for a second.
No, hey man, I'm with you. I have to like
All
I
of
have to
them.
like
All of
force
them.
I have to force myself to like tone down the political bullshit on my
Yeah.
Twitter feed just because I'm just like, okay, enough already with
Oh,
this.
I'm
But
not
sometimes I
toning.
just like I can't. I have to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I've done like 8 political tweets a
You don't
day.
need to tone yourself down. Just do it.
I just think at a certain point, I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, enough. Come on, dude. Talk about something else
It's
besides how much you
cathartic.
hate our government.
It's cathartic. It's a platform to get your voice out there and
Sure.
to say what you.
but that's a great answer. And that we haven't
you.
gotten Betsy DeVos
Good.
yet.
yeah,
so.
we haven't gotten her yet.
I lump them all in as the same, just conglomerate of shitheads, to be honest.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
let's pick her out specifically today.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Done and done.
Good.
Okay, the other question I ask every guest is tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college jogging front lawn.
Yep.
All right, ready?
That. You know what's really funny?
Yes.
I've never.
But see,
I've never even worried. I've never even.
it can also be
thought-
like a pants pissing story where it's like close call. Have you ever had a close call?
Bathroom emergency.
Yeah, bathroom scenario.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also make one
She's
up.
got
We'll never
something.
know.
We'll go with
Okay.
skirt,
Mhm.
summer, squirrels.
The alliteration is alive and well.
Wow. It's almost a poem.
Yeah,
Almost.
that is
It's like a
spoken
Ruby
word.
Kaur poem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
I thought it was going to begin with Hindu.
Oh, man.
Tequila.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no follow-up questions. So now we're gonna get into before we get into our Twitter questions, we have a segment called This is Curious, which is
Yes.
basically we find something that you've posted online that
some
doesn't
point.
fully make sense to us. It's kind of curious. And so we'd love
I love the segment, but I've just realized it in the context of me, and now I'm worried.
no,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's
Good.
totally safe. But we found something that you've posted that we just want some backstory to. This is from
Oh, dear.
April 28th,
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
All caps, close your mouth, Batman.
Yeah.
And it's
Exclamation
got
point.
6 likes, 2 retweets. It was at 1:25
Ooh.
p.m.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is curious.
This wasn't at 1:25 p.m. It probably looks it for you because
Oh,
you're
yeah,
in a
it's probably
different
plus
time
eight,
zone.
plus 8 hours.
So
this
this
is
would
what,
have
like,
been at
3
9:25 p.m.
Okay.
At around the time I probably would have been sat at home
Uh-huh.
watching, I'm going to say specifically The Dark Knight Rises of the trilogy. It would have been that
Okay.
one.
Okay.
All right.
Not because I prefer that one,
Right.
but because
It was on.
the man I was dating at the time, that is his favorite of the Batman trilogy, which,
Okay.
by
What?
the way, should have been a massive fucking red flag. I should have left him on the grounds of that alone. Rises? Really?
That's insane.
Did you see Heath Ledger in the? No? Okay, great. Yeah, Batman. What
So
happens
this is a director's note
This is
to the
director's
actor
note.
Batman.
to Christian Bale from the future to the past.
Yeah.
To tell him that after he says a line, he needs to close his fucking mouth. And had I been on set with Chris Nolan, I'd have been like, listen, Chris, come here and I tell you, you've got to get Christian to close his fucking mouth. It's devastating. Like he breathes, he can't breathe through the nose thing. So there's just this constant.
There's a mouth breather.
Yeah, he talks and then goes. And it's so frustrating. I can't watch it anymore without seeing it. The Rises is the worst of the culprits for it as well.
Only seen it once, no desire to see it again.
I'm glad that this tweet from almost 5 years ago brought you right back to a very
I'm so happy you knew exactly what was going through your mind.
I'm so happy this was something I could explain for you. I'm genuinely delighted.
So yeah, you were already in your director training back then.
I guess.
It's perfect. Okay, now let's get to some Twitter questions because we have a lot.
By the way, I never have fun or intelligent answers to anything. So
do you know what the title of this podcast is?
I do. I know. It's just everyone wants like quick fire, like funny, be funny. I'm like, I'm not.
No, these are, you can be whatever you want with these questions because some of them, who knows? It's a gambit. Gambit? Is that the right word?
It runs the gamut.
It's a gamut.
And it's all a gambit.
What's the difference between gamut and gambit?
So running the gamut means it's a full spectrum, and gambit is like a bet.
Literally is rolling her eyes at you explaining.
What?
I don't think that's.
Wow. Way to undercut me, producer.
I just think are you not talking about a gauntlet?
Yeah, is it gauntlet?
I don't think a gamut is
running the it runs the gamut. Like if it runs the gamut is like it runs the full
today.
spectrum.
Right.
GAMET. It
And
runs
then
the gamut.
Gambit
is a
like a
wager, like a bet.
Okay. Well, regardless,
Like this is
here are some Twitter
this
questions.
is a risk.
This was the worst introduction to a segment ever. I would just like to say.
Listen,
we're
ladies, I
workshopping this.
I can leave if you'd like. I'm sorry.
We're workshopping how to introduce our segments. So not too deep.
Okay.
We're 4 years into the podcast, still rough around the edges.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna get it one of these days.
okay, this first question is from Harmon ICDJH.
Good.
How many toes does a camel have if it has a camel toe? What a riddle. What a riddle.
Yeah, this came from the Sphinx.
I would imagine if a camel had camel toe, it would still have the same amount of toes.
Perfect.
I told you these wouldn't be fun. I specifically said. I fucking warned you.
I specifically said these weren't going to be fun.
The problem is I'm so logical that I will just answer with logic.
And that's perfect.
That's what's happening.
Okay, here's an actual great question. Krusty McSponge wants
Nice
to know.
name.
Do redheads have more fun? Because you recently dyed your hair red. Are you a
did.
natural redhead?
No one knows anymore, Grace, what my natural hair color is.
Perfect.
I mean, the hair on my head is dyed and the rest is waxed, so we don't know. By the way, can I just say, on waxing,
Please go on. No, Jack, get out of here.
I can stay. This is for all the family. There is something eternally soothing about a woman pouring hot wax on your ass.
Wow.
Mel's
all right.
nodding. She knows.
That's a specific sentiment.
There's a lovely feeling to that. It's not sexual. It's just like
comforting.
Wow, that's nice.
I've watched my only experience with a hot wax being poured on someone is Enrique Iglesias music videos. And so
That's a different kind of wax.
Yeah. No, that was my high school experience.
If they're pouring
and I was like,
candle
what?
wax on you,
That's a very different thing.
No.
Yeah, that's my only experience.
Okay. What was the question?
Do redheads
Krusty McSponge?
I've been having a lot of fun. Oh my God. So today, a very friendly homeless man passed me in the street and he said, "You're the most beautiful redhead I've seen all year." And he walked off.
Is he from New York?
He was. That was his accent.
Wow,
That's
that was
the
very
very
specific.
unique and like specific
That
compliment.
happened today. And I was like, thank you, sir.
But also, I was reading your Twitter. You had an experience with an Uber driver yesterday.
Oh my God, I did. Great.
Tell
Wait,
me
what
about
happened?
this.
No, that sounds weird. It's not weird. It was a beautiful experience.
it
we
was
have crazy Uber stories on this show.
No, but it was like a beautiful experience. It was a saga, a journey.
Oh, let's hear
I
it.
was reading about this. So your LA experience in the last week has had a lot of color to it. But So what happened?
Oh, I feel a bit weird now. I think in the moment I was so swept up in the spirituality of it all, and then I
No, it
woke
was
up
so
back
sweet.
cynical me and went, "Oh, it's probably
No,
nothing."
I read it.
It
And I was
was
like,
sweet,
this
right?
is so incredibly sweet.
Okay, so I'll give you the short version because
it's on her Twitter if you want to read the whole journey.
It's on my Twitter. So I get in this Uber, and I'm in LA, sort of having a bit of some me time.
You're
I'm
doing some
kind of-
eat, pray, love shit right
some
now.
eat, pray, love shit. I'm kind of trying to, find myself and relax and see friends and do all those nice things for me because I kind of need that right now.
Mhm.
And I have a day where part of it is like crying down the phone to my mother, not the mother to my phone.
Yeah.
And then I went for a very nice meeting with a lady at MGM, and I was like, oh, I did that. That's the thing I did. And then I get in an Uber, and I'm feeling all kind of mixed feelings. And
Mhm.
and I say to him, have you had a good day? He says, every day is a good day. And I'm like, wow, what's that like? And he immediately starts laughing. He's like, well, I came here from the Caribbean, and he has this beautiful Caribbean accent, which I will obviously not attempt to do as an Irish woman. Oh, it's such a lovely accent. And he's like, yeah, I came here from Caribbean, and I'm basically working around the world, and I'm trying to earn money because I want to build bungalows in the mountains back
Wow.
home on my island. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow, my island. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. Bungalows, plural, by the way. I'm like,
Yeah.
great. So that's great. And we get talking, and he's like, yeah, I came here, knowing that some days would be good and some days would be bad, and then by the end of it, they'd all be good, and that's the plan.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, same. And he's like, oh, you're joking, you're taking the piss out of me. I'm like, I'm not. Honestly, that's the same. I came here knowing some days would be good and bad, and then I want them to be all good by the time I leave. And he's like, wow, well, what's going on? So I'm telling him a little bit about my life. I've gone
Right.
to a breakup, and I'm kind of trying to find myself again and just, stand on my own 2 feet and all this. And he's just so lovely about it, and then just starts dispensing life advice. But a little bit like that scene in Meet Joe Black, even though it's a shit film, right? I'll stand here and I will say that right now.
Okay.
But there's
Never
this
saw
scene where
it.
he meets this Jamaican lady, and she's just like this spirit guide, and she starts saying stuff that's just so like intuitive, and we
Right.
don't know why, but it's a bit like that. Good scene, shit maybe. So, yeah, and he's just telling me all about, what I got to do, what I got to do for me, and I need to go talk to the ocean. I need to reconnect with the ocean. I'm like, yeah, because I'm from Dublin and I grew up near the ocean. It's so weird being away from it for me. I need to reconnect.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yeah, you just go down the beach, you just tell the ocean everything. It'll take it and it'll bring it back to you if you need it. And you got to stop looking for things. They'll never come if you keep looking for them. And he's telling me all this stuff, and I'm
Wow.
like, this is amazing. And out of nowhere, he goes, you're going to write a book. And I'm like, I am writing a book. Yes, I am. It's about love. And he said, yeah, but no, it should be about falling out of love.
What?
Wow.
And I said, it's called Out of Love. No way. And it is about that. And he's like, yeah, I sense that from you. You've got this, you've tapped into this like grief thing. And I think you should tell people, but it should be for people to learn from, and they should get something from it. And they should understand that you can go through it and you can be okay. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. And it's
you're
like,
are
Wow.
you my book agent
what is
now?
happening? Are you my book agent or like my bush doctor? Like,
Right.
what's happening? And then we start joking about the bush doctor thing, and he's like, well, maybe that's what I am. Maybe I'm a spirit guide, whatever. And it's just the most incredible journey, like literally
Wow.
journey. And then he drops me off, and I'm like getting out the car, and he's like, everything's gonna be all right. You won't be all right. And I'm like, oh my
Wow.
God, I feel like I actually am. Thank you. His
And you're
name is Raymond, by the way, Raymond Bartlett. He was
13 stars.
Yeah,
13
right.
stars to you, Mr. Raymond Bartlett. He does, apparently he's a street philosopher down on Venice Beach. He did this in
I didn't know
Leicester
that was
Square in
a
London
job,
a while ago.
a street
Apparently,
philosopher.
he's a street philosopher. That's what he says. He was in London a while back. I was like, I probably passed you in Leicester Square and didn't even know.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he gave me his number. He didn't ask for mine, but he was like, you take my number if you need anything in LA or if you're on Venice Beach, you let me know.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't it the most insane thing? And I left, and he's like beeping like bye, and we're waiting. And people around us must have been like, oh, that's her long lost friend, Raymond, who she knows really well.
Sure.
I did not.
What the hell? I'm a sucker for the universe and like coincidences
Yeah.
being kind of meaningful sort of scenario. And so moments like that is like, it's hard to ignore it that's like.
It felt very serendipitous. It
Yeah.
felt like to connect with someone over having grown up near the ocean and talk about that and then get into everything else just felt
Yeah.
like I needed to meet you right now.
Yeah,
And
there's a reason that
I've
this is
left this
happening.
encounter a little lighter and feeling a bit better. And whatever that is.
Right.
Whatever you want to call it, it's turned out well. So,
But it's
I'll
also
take
like,
it.
it's great for you to be like present and acknowledging that this is like a moment that is meaningful to me. Even if this
Yeah.
man has the same conversation with every single person he picks up,
And you know what?
and it just
Maybe he
happened to
does,
resonate with
and
me.
that's fine. Good for him. That's the service he provides.
But it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those weird things where you're like, I can't deny that this is so specific
So
to me.
specific. And look, I think there's something about traveling as well. And that's why I did this. That's why I came here. Because there's something as well about people who come from small towns and small places where we just fucking talk to anyone.
Sure.
And so there's something about striking up a conversation with a complete stranger. And, okay, 9 times out of 10, someone might be an asshole, but it's those little, it's those 1 in 10 encounters where someone's just really interesting and totally worth talking to and so worth your time. And it was really great. So I am that kind of person who just talks to anyone, but
that's so cool. Read more about it in Hazel's upcoming book.
should I put, I should
You have to
dedicate it to Raymond.
Oh my god!
I need to do that now.
At least put him in the acknowledgments
I
for
definitely
sure.
should.
Also,
put it in
I
there.
gotta see your Uber receipts and find out who this person is, so I know if I call an Uber that I can expect.
I can give you his number if you'd like.
Oh my god, he's perfect.
He will show up when you're ready to receive him.
I know. That's what I feel like. It's not.
My friend Kaylee was like, you'll be at the book signing and he'll just appear at the back of the room. And then when you go to look, he'll be gone.
Yeah. Like, what happened to the man that was back here? What man?
What man?
There was never any
There was a
back.
man with dreadlocks. He was here. No.
There
What's
was
that
never
John
man.
Travolta movie? Angel? Or
Michael.
Michael, yeah.
Is it? Or,
Yeah, it's
he's
Michael.
an angel.
Yeah.
It's Michael.
Is that what that's about?
Yeah.
It might have been that. It might have been John Travolta driving the car. No one knows.
Who knows? I only saw him in the rear view.
Okay, Ella Mayer wants to know best impulse buy and worst impulse buy.
Oh, great.
Do you do I get a little tipsy and I go on Amazon and I see what happens?
That's it. Wow, you've just actually reminded me of something. Thank you, because the answer would have been shit otherwise. I sometimes, when I'm high,
Go on.
buy myself things online and
Treat
forget
yourself. Yeah.
as a little gift to future Hazel.
Oh, yeah. I
Who
say
doesn't
these are
remember?
treasures from my previous self
Yeah.
that show up that I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, what did
What did
former
I
Grace get me this time?
I do this a lot. It's usually pajamas.
Yeah, I got 2 boxes of tampons yesterday that I was like, good job.
Sometimes they're very practical. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like detergent.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, a lot of the time I go buy myself pajamas online.
Pajamas?
when I am high. And then they turn up.
You're like,
And
but
I'm
I get
surprised.
the rationale of like, I want to be comfortable. How do I get more comfortable right now?
Yeah.
Pajamas, that's
I
what
got a
it'll
really
do.
nice set with palm trees on.
Oh.
Sober Hazel would not have chosen the palm tree pajamas,
You're manifesting Los Angeles.
I guess.
Okay. Babe Relis wants to know, what is something that you could never picture yourself doing?
A marathon.
Oh, physically, running.
Anything physical. We talked about the astronaut situation. Anything involving exerting physical energy.
Yeah,
Or being sweaty or tired.
totally
Except
fair.
maybe for sex. I'll take that out of it. All the other
So that's your
things.
cardio.
That's my cardio.
Yeah. Wait, where did this go? Someone wanted to know, what do you want to end in 2018?
Ooh, great question.
What's something that what is one thing you want to end? This is from Malteser 24. What is one thing you want to end in 2018?
Like in a split second, 20 very dark answers just came into
You're like the
Hazel,
slideshow.
Hazel, don't do it.
Filter.
Humanity. Like just
Oh, yeah.
the world. Existence.
I get it.
Pain?
Pain. I'll take that. I think that's a very relatable answer.
Yeah, maybe that.
Pain?
No more pain, please.
No more pain.
If I had that question, I would say the pure black and white argument people on the internet who are just like, I disagree with you, therefore you are a terrible human being. Well, I disagree with you, therefore you are a demon. I disagree with you, therefore
I
you
really
are.
like those people. I really feel like they keep me in check.
Really? Do
Yeah.
you like the pure black and white?
I think they're great. I think when I'm trying to talk about women's issues and someone reminds me that not all men are awful, it's really helpful to me.
Oh, I see. You're being sarcastic.
I'm like,
now I get
how
it.
long?
Dry.
How
That
long could I go
dry
with this?
wit.
Yeah, no, they can all fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Just
very
people who
helpful.
seem incapable of having like a complex thought in their brain.
It's
Just
nuanced.
wear me-
They
just
don't
wear me out.
understand context or nuance. It has to be
Yes.
one or the other. There's no gray area.
Yeah,
they're
and it
idiots.
just makes me so
And there's
exhausted.
also no opportunity for education, which is the bummer to me. That
Yeah.
it's like, my opinion is this, but we can have a conversation about it, and this could be an educational thing on both sides.
Yeah.
Empathy, compassion, fun feelings.
Yes.
You love music and you also sing, which I didn't realize.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah. When are you leaning into this more? No.
In the shower.
Yeah.
So something you do as a hobby.
Yeah, I like to. I'm not a singer. I would not describe myself as a singer.
Yet.
I can sing.
Well, you live with Dodie.
I live with Dodie, which is wonderful and beautiful. And hearing her come up with new melodies and riffs and like seeing a song progress from the beginning to the end is such a lovely thing. And then to stand
also,
in an audience and watch her perform.
Yeah, you guys, the one thing that's so beautiful about your friendship is how genuinely supportive you are of each other. It's really just like so fun to see on social media that you guys really truly think the world of each other, and it shows in like just an authentic way.
I really do. I mean, she better not come after films. That's a whole other story. As soon as she starts directing, I will cut that bitch down.
Now I'm recording an EP. Get ready. Here it comes.
But no, we are. Like, I truly do completely support. And it's such a lovely environment where we come out and we're like, we pop into the living room and go, I just written this thing, or I just want to share this with you, or what do you think of this? And it's
nice.
great. Yeah, she's just wonderful. And it's such a weird, unlikely pairing of people. She's 10 years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
And she came into it all like, lovely, fairy, happy Dodie. And I'm like, crazy wine, cynical aunt, bitch Hazel. And everyone's like, don't ruin her, please.
But there has to be a mutual learning curve for both of you.
There massively is. And I think she widens my eyes slightly to the world. And there's that kind of like the fun element to her, and that being just silly around each other. And I think she opens me up in terms of like, I think letting go of inhibitions a bit. I'm quite I grew up in Catholic Ireland. So I'm like, even in terms of privacy, like I don't walk around in my pants or anything. And, and now I'm starting to do that. It's stupid little things, but things that I just feel comfortable with her doing now. And I think she's hardening slightly.
She's hard. Oh no, she's learning. She's growing.
She's growing. She said, we talked about this last night, and I was like, I hope I'm not breaking you, because she was like, I see why you are the way you are, and I see why you put up walls, and I see why you protect yourself, because people, hurt you. And I was like, yeah, but I've got 10 years of shit on you,
and
that's what hardens you.
And she's growing up in a totally different environment of YouTube and the digital space than any of us grew up at her age.
Oh, massively. I feel so protective of her.
Right.
Like, she's this beautiful little soul, and she has so many people looking up to her and expecting something from her,
and she's learning about the world in her real time too. And so she doesn't owe anyone any like guidance, because she's trying to learn too.
But she's trying to teach along the way. So I have massive respect for that girl. She's wonderful. I don't know what the question was again.
Well, no, it's leading to the question, which is from Claudia 9G. How do you fit your passion for music in your daily life?
Oh, interesting. So, and again, this is something I was explaining to a friend recently. I have a little tattoo of a treble clef on my foot.
Oh, fun.
Which I got when I was in New York years and years ago. Once again, had gone through a breakup. Breakups are, by the way, very formative times in your life. You learn a lot about yourself.
You realize who you are as a person.
You really do.
Yeah.
You sort of, you sink or swim. And if you swim, you realize how much stronger you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had been in an 8-year relationship, and I'd actually been like engaged to be married.
Wow.
And it was a lot, and I left, and I kind of got my shit together. But I went and I got this tattoo because I realized in the wake of the breakup, I hadn't been singing. I couldn't listen to music. I could not listen to music.
What? Because it was evoked too many emotions?
Just too much. I feel so much when I listen to any kind of music that I just couldn't do it. And that kind of happened this time around as well, where I was just commuting with headphones in, but no music on.
Right.
And it's the way I realize that I'm healing is, first, I can listen to, I have a playlist on Spotify called In Case of Emergency, which you're all welcome to.
That's really funny.
It's hardcore. I go straight to Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of. That's my go-to song.
But if this is a helpful resource for anyone out there, it's a great litmus
had a
test.
few tweets from people saying it's got them through a day.
That's great.
It's good. It gets you in the morning. You get your face on, you get out there and you live your day, and it helps you to do that. It kind of peps your step a little. So I have that playlist, and then I graduate to #NewWoman, which is all female, like empowering songs.
That's amazing.
And then I can go kind of segue then into like my slightly calmer, smoother
playlists and the sadder songs. And eventually I can listen to Joni Mitchell and not have a breakdown. And this is my journey through every single heartbreak or grief or anything that I go through when I'm in
they
a
say
bad
there's
place.
5 stages of grief. So Joni Mitchell is your fifth
Yeah,
stage.
Joni Mitchell's the end.
If you can listen to Joni Mitchell and not have to call an ambulance,
Then you're safe.
You're
You've
all
made it
good.
out.
So music really does mean a lot to me, and I'm like a sponge, and I feel it a lot. So that's why I got that tattoo, was to remind me. I was like, oh, I'm listening to music again. That must mean that I'm kind of healing.
Yeah.
And so every time I go through anything that's or I'm in a depressive episode or whatever, I notice that I'm not listening to music, and that's the first thing that I have to set right. So in answer to the question, I do have a passion for music. I slightly dabble with piano when Dodie's not home. I go in and play with the keyboard a little bit, but I don't ever really put it on YouTube, and I very rarely put up singing songs on YouTube because I don't think I'm a singer. I don't really like to hear my voice back, but I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, it's for you.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy, like, I'm in the shower just belting out power ballads, and that's fine for me. That's
I
enough.
wish that's like when I see music. We talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
That like I can't sing, and it's one of those things that like when someone can sing, I'm just so in awe of it because it's like you can't learn how to sing. You know, you can't like take a class. You can take a class to get better at kind of singing. But
but it's
you're
either
not
there or
right, and that's always blown my mind since I was born. That it's like you either have this or you do not have this. This is so bizarre. And so when people have it, I'm like, they're magic.
I'm like that with dancing.
Oh
I
yeah, same
cannot
with dancing. Yeah.
And when I see someone move in a certain way, I'm like, oh God, I wish I could do that. Yeah.
I watch dance videos on Instagram like crazy. That all my recommended videos are just dance videos because they're so empowering to me because I can't do it. But like the vicariousness of like living through them doing it is enough.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I need to watch this.
I wish I could move. I do enjoy singing, but I just am incapable of moving my body.
Yeah, I have no coordination. I did a ballet class, so it didn't end well.
Really?
It did not end well.
Really quick, and this might be a bigger question, but we're just gonna keep it
Yes, I'm
bare bones.
rambling so much.
No, this is fantastic. I wish we had like 6,000 hours with you right now because I'm like, I've only hit the tip of the iceberg.
We're going to get drunk next week and talk about more things.
This podcast will probably come out after these said quote videos that we will shoot next week come out.
Fabulous.
But this is your gauge if you're listening to the podcast to see if those videos actually happen. Because,
did we just get drunk and not film?
Right, because there was such an excitement just to hang out and drink, and then the work part comes afterwards. But we'll see what happens. Here's hoping. So go check out our YouTube channels to see what happened. Someone, it's Care BTW wants to know, ask Hazel what her best coping strategies are for dealing with anxiety. And you mentioned that and I deal with anxiety. I think it's like a very common issue in a lot of, especially millennials, that the way that we operate online, especially, and balancing our real world life with digital life creates a lot of anxiety that's new, nuanced, and it's unfamiliar for people to figure out how to deal with. Have you figured out like quick coping mechanisms for yourself? Easier said than done, always. Yeah.
Sometimes it depends on the severity of the attack, but a lot of the time I can kind of stop it from escalating to the worst place it could be. So I think that's a lot of it is recognizing that you're never going to make the anxiety go away. It's the attack is a symptom of a deeper problem. So it's like living with something like diabetes, where you know you're going to have it forever, but you're going to need to do injections every day. Like you need to manage it.
Right.
So you need to take care of yourself. You need to make sure. I think the biggest thing for me is getting enough sleep. If I'm really, really tired, I'm immediately less capable of dealing with it if I do have an attack.
Sure.
So that's something, just keep on top of that and taking care of yourself and making sure you're like genuinely like just taking vitamins and eating good food for you.
Yeah, all these standard things.
Self-care. Yeah, a lot of that really, really does make a difference with me. And having a space that I can come back to and nest. I always talk about that. I like to nest. So having a safe, warm, comfy space where your friends can be, and sort of knowing who to let into that space, and knowing when you need to see the big group of friends and hang out and get drunk, or when maybe tonight is just for you and one friend and you need to, and knowing your limits and saying no to things sometimes if you don't want to do them.
So just really checking in with yourself.
Completely, just being more self-aware and checking in. And I think like I've done therapy, I've done CBT. I would highly recommend it for anyone with anxiety. I think make the distinction first of all between, are you anxious or do you have anxiety? Because those are two different. Like to have the emotion, to be anxious is
quite normal.
Right.
But to actually have an anxiety disorder where it's debilitating or it gets in the way of your life is a different story. So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. It teaches you a lot of coping mechanisms. A lot of it is like homework. It's writing stuff down about what you're thinking and feeling when the attacks happen, finding your triggers, dealing with those. So it's a very practical way of dealing with it. So I would recommend that to absolutely anybody. And then that's kind of what's helped me through in the harder moments. But a lot of it, to be honest, is reaching out to somebody. I'd say that's probably my number one thing.
Yeah, I feel like there's I always picture anxiety as this like weird balloon that's inflating in your head, and as soon as you say it to someone else, it lets the air out of it in a way. Like as soon as you admit or confide in someone else, then it like diffuses this thing that's about to pop in your head.
It's like when you have a horrible nightmare and it has so much power over you in the middle of the night in the dark. But if you turn to somebody and you say, "Oh, there was this monster chasing me," and it sounds ridiculous. Isla Fisher was there, but she had black hair, and and then you're like, "Oh, this is silly."
Right.
And a lot of the time, the thoughts are silly. My therapist used to say to me all the time, I'd get so caught up in my head, and she'd stop me and go, "Hazel, are you a banana?" And I'd go, "No." And she'd be like, "Okay, well, if your brain told you were a banana, would you believe it?" And I'd be like, "No, because I'm not a fucking banana." And initially, obviously, I'm like, she's a quack. But she's like, okay, well, your brain is telling you you're not good enough. You're alone. You're a failure. No one loves you. They're going to leave you, blah, blah, blah. It tells you all these things. But does that mean it's true? And I was like, wow, that's huge. No, it doesn't mean it's just thoughts. They're not real.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh no, you're a professional and you know what you're doing. And this is really good advice. Thank you so much.
I'm not a banana, nor am I alone or a failure or not good enough or abandoned or any of those things. But yeah, you just have to distinguish between what is you and what is a thought. Wow. They're very different things. And yeah, reach out to somebody. And if you do find yourself in the midst of a really, really bad attack, the best thing that I can do is talk to somebody and just have them either just hold me or sit with me or calm me down or tell me that it's not real or whatever. But yeah, I need that.
That's awesome. That's great advice. To lighten things really quickly, this is a great question because I'm actually really curious about this. Daniel J. Layton wants to know, what's your favorite Janet Jackson song?
I hate him. I can't believe he did this.
What? Why?
I told him not to do it. He knows I only know one song by Janet Jackson. He knows this.
Oh, wait, you responded. Sorry, I forgot that you responded, "Stop this." And then he responded, "It's a fair question, Hazel."
To which I responded, "You know I only know one song, Dan."
Answer the question.
Together again, I guess.
Well, that's perfect.
What a way to end it.
Hazel, we are reaching the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. It's been so fun. The gift that we give every guest for being on the podcast now is a fortune cookie that's tailored especially for you.
Thank you.
So you can read your fortune out loud on the podcast and let the world know what the universe wants from you in your life.
Did Raymond have anything to do with the...
We'll find out.
Okay. Let's find out.
Has this actually been tailored for me, or is it just a fortune cookie from a place? Okay. It says, lucky numbers.
You got some lucky numbers.
It says, you will enjoy your time on Not Too Deep so much that you will decide to stay in the US and hang out with Grace frequently and eventually become the president we all deserve.
Yep.
But not the one we need right now.
Nope.
It doesn't say it on it, but wow.
Yeah, weird that the universe wants you. I mean, that might have been the Caribbean guy who wrote that.
I better get busy, I guess.
First, you got to be born here.
I would happily be president of the world and rule you all.
We got to get you a visa. We got to work this out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I've been taking names just so everyone knows. When I do rule, there's a list. There is a list. So.
Well, that's a sweetly threatening thing to end on. Hazel, where can people find you online if they don't know already? Where can they find everything you do?
youtube.com/Hazel. I am the Hazel Hayes on Twitter and Insta. And you will find a slightly sweeter version of me on Instagram than you will on Twitter. Is all I have
to say. Mark it in all of your notes and calendars because Hazel's doing great things this year and it's very exciting. I'm just so pumped to see what you produce this year.
So am I. Someone pay me to make a thing, please.
There we go. With that, we'll see you guys.
Thank you so much, Grace.
Of course. Thank you for making time. This was so fun. Again, look to see if we made videos. Who knows at this point? But we'll see you guys on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye. Bye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang.
Production assistance by Jenny Stringfellow.
Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.